stop what you're doing, grab your tea, have a seat, and sip on this. I have been inspired to start this series, Sip on This, where I will share life lessons and just wisdom that I've learned. Let me first start by saying that I am not God, okay? I still make mistakes and I hold myself accountable. So this is no judgment. It's a judgment-free zone. However, we gotta address some things. So yeah, grab your cup. Now this first lesson number 1, is on positions of power. Yeah, it's actually inspired by the recent ID documentary series, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. If you haven't seen it, I urge you to watch. If you're a 90s, 2000s kid who grew up on Nick, they got into some things. And I kind of have a little survivor's remorse about it, but it inspired this thought on the positions of power. And we're gonna go over a few things. We're gonna go over the use of power, as well as the dynamics of power and how they affect not only yourself, but all of the people that you employ, all of the people that are around you. Let's talk about it. So I couldn't find a more perfect and appropriate example than the series that I mentioned before, and this Dan Schneider mess, okay? Nonsense, really. How he used people and children to assert his power. Now, we all know a Dan Schneider all too well. It's this really insecure person who finally gets in a position of power and they finally get that title that makes them feel like the world is theirs. And that's a feeling that they've never felt before. So 9 times out of 10, they take advantage of it. And that's how you have a 4-part documentary on how one man and a couple of his comrades were the very downfall of an entire network and people's livelihood. Now, I've had some great employers, phenomenal. Some of you might call them your boss. I personally like to call them my employer because I'm a boss for myself. But yeah, I've had some really great employers and I've had some really shitty ones. Shitty ones sucked because they flaunted their power. They swung their dicks. And you know what? It's people like that who are never truly happy nor satisfied with their lives, even when they do have that power. You know what I mean? Like, they go home and they're still sad. They're still not fulfilled. So instead, they utilize their position of power to find some sort of temporary fulfillment, right? The reality is, people like this, they always reap what they sow. And that's what we're seeing in this Dan Schneider thing. He's coming back, he's trying to apologize and explain himself. And, you know, with the employers that I mentioned in the past who weren't the best, most of them ended up losing their jobs, getting sick. And some of them even, you know, as they realized the things and how damaging they were to certain people in their lives, they started to make different choices. And really, that's the whole point. Again, we are all human and I'm not here to judge, but it's really about how you recover from the choices that you make. I've made some really bad choices myself, but I'm not going to continue doing something that is just clearly not working, right? When we look at the definition of power, it is the ability to influence others or the course of an event. That's quite major. That's huge to even say. And the only person that I know, and is not even really a person, is God herself, that has the ability to influence the masses as well as direct any course of events. So who are we to say that we are in some sort of position of power? As a true leader, you will utilize your position to gather your employees and gather your collaborators, co-creators to get the job done. You're put in position to encourage, not just influence, to motivate, not assert your leadership role. As a leader, you can stand on the good side of leadership or you can stand on the bad side. One does not need to flaunt their superiority. All of my great employers were there to lead. They were there to encourage, to motivate, to push us to be the best versions of ourselves, to push us to be the best versions of ourselves, to represent the company, to grow and nurture our gifts. One of my greatest employers really motivated me to go out on my own and be my own leader, not keep me there in the confines of what they had going on. And to me, that's a great leader, because you are building up other leaders, not trying to hold on to your position. So someone like Dan, you're doing that to kids, bro. Like, you already really got that influence on them because they're impressionable children. It's just sick. Be the person that you will want leading you. That's the reality of it. It's like, treat people kind. They will want to do their job. There's a study that one company experimented with their numbers from the previous year and the year that they decided to give their employees unlimited time off. What they realized is that those employees actually didn't even take advantage of the time off, but they performed even better than the year before because they had the access and the opportunity and the flexibility to take it off. It's just the idea that you can't, right? So imagine if you treated your employees with that sort of kindness and just human regard, that they are simply human beings just like yourself, instead of treating them as if they're beneath you. You will get far more engagement and high-level performance from your employees. We all should and can reach that level of leadership and that level of power, right? So the question becomes, will you be a good leader or a bad boss? A head honcho or a humble Joe? Just make your choices wisely, my friends, because at the end of the day, it will come back to either haunt you or celebrate you. And which side of history do you want to be on? I'll see y'all next Thirsty Thursday, sippers.